Happy Thanksgiving week to everybody. Really pleased with the progress that we made as a team. Thought we got a lot better this past week in Charleston. I thought the leadership from our players was tremendous and found a way to win two big games there against North Texas and Wake Forest. And now we turn our attention to getting better this week and getting ready for our opportunity on Friday night against North Florida back here at home at 7 o'clock.
Hey, Coach. Y'all played three really close games in the Classic. The first game obviously didn't go your way, but in the last two games, do you think was there something schematically y'all did different, or do you think they just executed better down the stretch?
No, I think tremendous credit to our players. Thought they really executed at a high level. Both games were a little different. The North Texas ending, I thought we really got a lot done on the defensive side of the ball coming down the stretch. Strung together a lot of stops. We held them to 22% shooting there in the second half, which was huge for us. And then the Wake Forest game, we learned a lot. We had opportunities to put the game away. Unfortunately, we were unable to do so. But then in the overtime period, was just thrilled with our response after leading for essentially 41 minutes to go down by two, and then respond the way they did down the stretch. Tyrell Ward hit a huge three. We got stops. Really did a much better job defending the three-point line Sunday in the second half. It's an area we really need to improve as a team. Second half, we limited Wake Forest to only 5 attempts from behind the arc, and then in the overtime period, they went 0 for 5. So I thought that was a big key. But all in all, really a tremendous job by our players finding ways to win there.
Hey, Coach. You guys saw both sides of you got a loss and you got two wins after that. What is something that you learned about this team specifically, what you need to improve on, what you guys already established within the Classic?
Well, I think most importantly, the leadership and the resiliency. Even in that North Texas game, there's a point we went down 5 in the second half and coming off some difficult losses. Could have easily folded there, and I thought Mwani Wilkinson was just terrific with his leadership, not just on the court, but in the locker room, in team huddles, in team meetings. I thought he was really impactful this weekend, and guys stepped forward and made the plays there in the second half. I think overall, just looking at it, from the defensive side of the ball, our two-point defense has been outstanding. I think opponents are down in the low 40s, right around 42%. Have to improve our three-point defense. We're giving up too many makes there at too high of a percentage. Have to clearly improve our defensive rebounding. But then I've been really pleased with our ability to force turnovers. I believe we're top 10 in the country in steals right now, averaging about 10 and a half a game. On the offensive side of the ball, I think shooting it well from three, shooting it really well in the restricted area. If we can eliminate some turnovers unforced, and our mid-range two-point shot selection has been poor, and we really need to improve that.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned the three-point defense, but how much is that tied into what y'all do well in two-point defense and obviously the shots that you give up from three?
Well, I think the first half of the North Texas game was a situation where we were getting beat off the dribble, number one, and two, we were over-rotating. We were coming to help way too early in the possession, and North Texas took advantage. They moved the ball. 20 of their 29 shots in the first half of that game were threes. The second half, we were a lot more disciplined, and we forced them to take a lot of tough twos. I think for the game, they were 7 of 28 from two-point range, which is just awesome. And so I think that was the case there. The first half against Wake Forest, a couple of the threes were just unlucky. We were doing a great job. Jordan Wright got us off to a good start, forcing some turnovers, got some steals that got us out in transition. A couple loose ball situations there in the first half that Wake Forest was able to recover, and it led to some open threes. But in the second half, again, just thought we did a better job of not over-helping, not getting beat off the bounce as much, and it enabled us to not only limit the three-point line, but force some tougher, more contested two-point shots from both opponents.
Hey, Coach. You had two tough losses against Nichols and Dayton, and then come back and win two in a row right after those games. What were some things you maybe told the team, and how maybe they changed their mindset through those two games?
Yeah, I thought our guys had a great week of preparation going into the tournament. Worked extremely hard. Thought the focus and attention to detail really good. And I thought we played our tail off all weekend long in the tournament. The Dayton game we played 32 good minutes. Unfortunately, 8 bad minutes on both sides of the basketball ended up costing us that opportunity there. But then I thought the response to come back and beat a really good North Texas team and follow that up with the way we won the Wake Forest game, really I thought controlled the majority of the game. And then you see it so often, where you don't finish a game like that because of missed free throws down the stretch, and the other team takes the momentum into the overtime period and you lose the game. And I thought our guys just really came together, executed at a high level in the overtime period on both sides of the ball. Some plays that really stood out. 1-point game, they double team Will Baker in the post. Jalen Reed makes a great cut down the middle of the lane, and Will delivers the pass, and we finish to go up 3 there with 43 seconds to go. Then we get a defensive stop. Tyrell Ward's block there late in the game, and really just came up with those defensive rebounds that we really needed.
Matt, obviously it's great to be at home, and obviously y'all are at home most of the rest of the way until conference play. But to go on the road and play 3 games and build some chemistry, and what does it do for your team? And do you like to have these kinds of away tournaments or classics every year built into the schedule?
No, we love the tournaments. I think those are just great opportunities for our team. Play high-level non-conference games on a neutral floor. It was a great environment there. Dayton and St. John's brought huge crowds. And they're good teams you're playing against. So we got in a lot of different situations over the course of those 3 games. Some where we executed really well, some where there's room for improvement, and so we have to continue to get better there. But I thought overall, when you sum up the weekend, it was a huge plus for us. We got a lot better as a team on both sides of the basketball, and in an area I haven't probably talked enough about that we spend a lot of time on is special teams, which we would characterize as out of bounds, underneath, offense and defense, side out of bounds, offense and defense, and then after timeout, execution on both sides of the basketball. And in those last 2 games, we were plus 27 there. And ultimately, it was the difference in winning and losing. And so I think huge credit to our players for their improvement in execution and ability to get the job done there in big moments down the stretch.
Yeah, Coach, at the point guard position, how do you evaluate, balancing Mike and Trey and what they do well in the situations where they need to be in the game?
Yeah, I think impact on winning is the biggest key to that position. Mike, right now, you would say, not putting up any crazy numbers, but when he's on the floor, we have our highest plus-minus on the season when he's in the game. I think he's provided a lot of stability there. He's been terrific on the defensive side of the ball, creating some turnovers and pressuring out front. Offensively, getting the ball where it needs to go and making sure we're organized on that side of the basketball. And then Trey has been efficient scoring the ball. I think he's 10 of 14, getting to the basket and finishing plays. It's just a position where we want to make great decisions, eliminate some turnovers, take advantage of the efficiency right now that our front court is playing with. I think when you look at Baker, Fountain, and Reed, all are shooting between 58 and 68% from the floor. So just getting that basketball where it needs to go and keeping us organized there.
When y'all get into SEC play, you're probably going to be in a lot of close games. Just do you think it helps your team being in so many close games so early in the season to kind of just like season them and get them ready for SEC play?
Well, that's the goal. You want to learn from it. I'd prefer to learn from winning those games. And fortunately, we were able to do that on Friday and Sunday. But I think it is a really long season. I mean, we've played about 15% of our games. Still got a long way to go. So all these different scenarios that we end up in, I think, are great teaching opportunities. As I mentioned, I'd prefer to learn on the winning side of it, but all in all, I think we've shown a lot of improvement and gotten better. And the tournament was great for us. I'd love to be sitting here, having gone 3-0 there, but most importantly, we got a lot better. I think I've learned a lot about our team, and now just need to stay focused on making some of those corrections and improvements in some of the areas I mentioned.
Coach, what kind of improvements are you looking for the North Florida game on Friday within your team?
Well, three-point defense jumps off the page right away. Number one, because we haven't done a good enough job through 5 games. And number two, because North Florida's about plus 24 in their games from the three-point line. They make around 11 a game at about 35%, and they really do a good job running teams off the three-point line. Their opponents are only making 3 threes a game, only shooting around 13 a game, which is an incredibly low number in today's college basketball. Defensive rebounding, we know they're going to shoot a lot of threes. So some of those long rebounds have given us trouble here early in the season. We want to see improvement there. And then just on the offensive end, just continuing to be more and more efficient. And I think the way we do that is eliminate some of these unforced turnovers that we've had and some of these contested 17 to 19-foot jump shots that have had a really low return on investment for us to this point.
Hey, Coach, what are you guys doing to kind of stretch out those leads when you have it and keep the momentum in the games to come? Do you think it can be like, is it spacing? Is it just not enough conditioning yet for you guys to kind of get that stretch?
No, I don't think it's a conditioning issue. I think part of it's credit to the other team. You know, they're trying to win too, and they're fighting like crazy in these games. But I think spacing's a good point that you make. I think improving our screening. But if you look at some of the runs, the 8 and 10-0 runs that we've given up a couple of, usually you can point back to some unforced turnovers in those situations, which then puts your defense in a bad position. And shot selection, I think there can be some improvement there. And then I think most teams are this way, and I think we'll continue to improve here. But when things don't necessarily go the way you'd like on the offensive end, it can't negatively impact your discipline and commitment to the defensive side of the ball. And so just being more consistent in all those areas will lead to improvement for us.
You talked about Jalen Reed's improvement a lot this offseason, but just now that you've been through the tournament, he had a few big games. Just can you talk about his performance and what he's going to mean to this team down the stretch?
I think he's been fantastic. It's one of his many great traits is he wants to be coached, and so he just really wants to get better. And you see that in how he invested in his body in the offseason, gained 16 pounds of lean muscle. He's playing at 6'10", 242 pounds. You see his ability to finish around the basket. He becomes a matchup problem because if you put a smaller guy on him, he's very skilled down there in the post. If you put a bigger guy on him, he's able to attack off the dribble on the perimeter, and he's a very willing passer and creator for others. So, as I always say, unique player, but he's a guy that you can play through as I don't want to use the term point guard, but as another playmaker for you on the floor.
At this point in the season, how much are you looking to hone in on a starting 5 or a rotation, and how much are you looking to still experiment and try to find, this guy's a defensive stopper, this combination works best? Where are you at this point in the season?
Well, I think it's really important. I like to have a set rotation. Hadn't been quite as clear for a variety of reasons. But I think this past week we learned a lot about our team there. You saw the efficiency in the front court, different games from Will Baker, Derek Fountain, Jalen Reed. Really have created some separation there through their consistent play in practice and in the games. And then on the perimeter overall, just working on that consistency, offensive efficiency, ability to guard on the defensive side. We'll keep getting better there. But I would say 5 games in, we're not at a set point, and that'll continue to evolve here as we go through the preseason, or the non-conference, I should say. All right, thank you. Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving week. I think we got a great special on Friday, buy one, get one free. Black Friday deal, 7 o'clock here at the PMAC on Friday night. Look forward to getting back to it. Hope everyone has a great holiday. Thank you.